delve a little more into the technical side now. Tom Parker, NetSpy's Chief Technology Officer. NetSpy is a cybersecurity platform. Thank you for coming on the programme.
Thanks for inviting me.
So can you just talk us through, I suppose in relatively simple terms, but what we know about what actually happened? Do we know a sequence of events here?
Well, I think it's really important to not speculate about these matters. I think it's really important to not have knee-jerk reactions and kind of keep composed in a time of crisis like this. What we do know is, of course, there was an update pushed to the CrowdStrike Falcon agent that then resulted in blue screens of death. And then, as one of your correspondents mentioned, it requires manual intervention with the desktop or server, which, for you and I at home, fixing a computer is an inconvenience. But if you have tens of thousands of workstations that you now have to individually go to in your company, that becomes really disruptive. And we're going to be dealing with this, I think, for weeks to come.
Okay. Can you talk to me about turning it off and on again, which is like an office joke, isn't it? But how serious is that as a solution here?
Yeah, unfortunately, switching it on and off isn't going to just fix it, because the agent that loads the faulty software update will continue to load every time you turn it on and off. So I'm sure many people have tried that to no avail. Unfortunately, the computer has to be booted into a special mode. This is generally something that requires some level of expert experience in order to effectively manually remove the software that's causing the blue screens and then rebooting the machine again. So unfortunately, it's not completely a trivial process.
I see. So you hinted at there at the end of your last answer about time frames, but surely the big companies with big IT departments and big budgets, they should be able to get round and individually access and sort this relatively quickly.
I think should is the operative word here. I think this has been a really real exercise in business continuity planning. At the end of the day, CrowdStrike is one of many pieces of sensitive software that can run with a really high privilege in an operating system that could cause this kind of outage in this blue screen. And so I think businesses really need to start reflecting on, especially, we've talked about airlines, transportation, hospitals. I mean, these are critical sectors that we really don't want to be disrupted. And I think this is a really good exercise for us to then reflect on, how do we come back more quickly in the event of something like this occurring.
And as for CrowdStrike, a company that up until today most people will never have heard of, share price took a bit of a battering, understandably, in the circumstances. Talk to us a bit about the company. What do you think it means, today's events mean for it?
Yeah, listen, yesterday, before this happened, CrowdStrike was a leader in the cybersecurity industry, one of the largest companies in cyber. Today, they still are, and tomorrow they will continue to be. This type of defect can happen to anyone. I think, my suggestion to anyone that is using CrowdStrike and considering using CrowdStrike is obviously the response that CrowdStrike decides to have, the transparency that they have. In cybersecurity, trust is really, really important. And so I think it's the most important thing here is to acknowledge that this could really happen to anyone. There's obviously some lessons to be learned, I'm sure, in the CrowdStrike team. But I think what's really important as a consumer of their products is to take a look at how they've rebuilt that trust with customers and how they're going to prevent this from happening in the future.
Tom Parker, fascinating. Thank you very much for that. So we finished there by talking about CrowdStrike. Who exactly are they and how has this failure delivered